Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be doing an upgrade on the Tucson. We're going to be installing LED low beam headlights right here. The last car that I drove had HID headlights, which are about as bright as LEDs, much better than halogen, and they were great at night. When I switched to the Tucson, this particular trim level only came with standard halogen low beam bulbs, and by comparison they suck. So today we're going to be upgrading to LEDs on the low beams. I'm going to show you how to do it and the bulb that I'm using. The installation instructions are going to be specific to 2016 through 2020 Hyundai Tucsons, but some of the information about the bulbs is relevant no matter what bulb you buy and what car you're putting it in. So let's go ahead, we'll take a look at the bulbs first. There's a lot of LED bulbs on the market. If you look on Amazon, you'll see just a ton of LED low beam headlights. This particular one by a company called LaceFit is what I found, which I think will work best because it's actually custom made for the Tucson. And as you can see right here on the back, it's the Pro HK5N model, and comes with a 1-year warranty. This is 3,000 lumens per bulb, and color temperature 6,000 Kelvin, so pure white. Let's take a look at what comes in the box. Okay, so it comes with a product manual, and we have adapters. Now, what makes this a custom kit really are these adapters, because these have to be specifically sized and made with the right tabs to fit the housing on the Tucson. They do sell universal adapters on Amazon, but they might not be exactly the right size. As you can see, they made this one to fit exactly the size of their bulb, and you'll see how that goes, how that works later. And then the LED bulb itself. So this is an LED bulb. It comes with a short wire lead here. Now, of all the different types of bulbs on the market, some good advice would be you want to make sure you get one that has a heat sink here on the bottom. And the reason is because even though you may be familiar with LED bulbs in your house and that they don't generate as much heat, these do generate heat because they're generating much more light than the ones inside your house. And of course, these are also being operated in a fully sealed environment. So it's important to get the heat away from these LED chips right here. So most LED bulbs have a heat sink on the bottom, and if you're shopping for LEDs, you want to make sure that you get a metal heat sink, and these grooves are cut into it to increase the surface area of this base, which will help dissipate the heat. And also, in the base here, there's a small fan, which helps to circulate the air. So these are made pretty well to be able to handle the heat. Also, and along with the, now I mentioned about the custom adapter, you'll also notice, I'm not sure how good this is going to show up on video, but right here at the base of the round part of the bulb, there are 2 O-rings. LaceFit has designed their bulbs with these O-rings to help seal, and they fit, they're a very tight fit inside this adapter. I'm not going to push it on all the way right here, but it goes on very tight, and it provides a double seal against moisture getting in. So this is your LED light bulb here. They actually have their name etched. I'm not sure if you can see that right up there at the top. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the install for this. Okay, so let's start with the driver's side right here. The low beam light bulbs are underneath this dust cap right here. It is going to be a little bit tight to get in there with this fuse box cover right here. So what I recommend doing is actually removing the fuse box cover by pressing these tabs in, one there, one on the back, and lifting it straight up. Let's do it like that. And by taking off this cover, which is somewhat thick, will actually give you just a little bit more, the thickness of that cover will give you just a little bit more space to work in right here, in this dust cover. So we turn it counterclockwise, about a quarter of a turn. We pull back, and there it is. These factory dust covers have a little O-ring here to seal it, so it could be tight to remove. So now that we got the dust cover off, I'm able to show you inside here, and the bulb, the low beam bulb, is inside this housing opening here. So to take the bulb out, you're going to turn the base again counterclockwise about a quarter of a turn probably. You'll hear it snap. Pull it straight back, and you may have to wiggle it a little bit because the wires are also in there, and the hole in the projector where the bulb goes is not 100% perfectly lined up with the dust cover opening. So we're going to gently maneuver this and the wires out. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got the socket and the bulb and the wires pulled out from the housing, we can go ahead and remove the halogen capsule. You'll pull the metal base straight up. You want to make sure that you don't touch the glass part of the bulb if you hope to reuse it in the future, because the oils from your finger can shorten the life of the bulb. And so, grasping it by the base, wiggle, and now that we've got that aside, this is your base right here, and you can see on the inside right there where those two tabs are, we're going to need to remove those from this base because we're going to be replacing it with the new one. And as you can see, the let me turn it this way. The new one is made to the same specification size-wise. When you're working with electricity like this, I do recommend either pull the battery cable, or what you could do is unplug the headlight housing power, which is all the wires for all the different lights in the front of the car come into the housing from the wiring harness through one connector, and inside the housing they split off to all the different bulbs. So this connector right here, you can push the tab and unplug the connector. So now your lights are unpowered. To remove these wires, you'll need a small flat blade screwdriver. You're going to stick the flat blade underneath or right in here and press down. Okay. And this one just popped out, and I actually had to go and get a different, a smaller screwdriver even. There. Okay. Now, if you can see on the back here, take that out. And so, this is your original base, and I would hold on to it. Like I said, you can reuse it. We're going to take this new one, and we're actually going to put this one in first into the headlight assembly, because it'll be easier to simply push the bulb through. If you look on the back of it, at the very top here, there's a small arrow pointing up. The tabs, let's see if you can see this. These tabs are different than the tabs on the bottom. They're smaller. So pointing up, you want to make sure you put the tabs in the right way. It's got a couple of tabs here to hold it with. So when you're installing the new adapter, I can get you a close-up view. This is what it looks like. That metal part inside the housing is the headlight projector, where the adapter is going to go on those tabs that are around the edge of it. That's where you're going to put it. So you're going to hold these wires off to the side, you know, just kind of get them out of the way, and you're going to put the new adapter on there, and you're going to turn it clockwise. Should be only a quarter of a turn, and you want to make sure that you get that arrow lined up to the top, and that it's firmly and securely in place. So there we have it. The adapter is in place, as you can see, and you'll feel it when it kind of goes into its hole where it goes, and then you just kind of put your fingers over it and make sure it doesn't move at all. Make sure it's all steady in there. The next step is to connect the wires. Now, Hyundai does not mark these lit wires as to which one is positive and which one is negative. This plug right here, I don't know if that shows up on camera, but the plug is definitely specific, positive and negative. So you're going to have to plug it in and test it. And it's not going to hurt it if you plug it in the wrong way. If you plug it in the wrong way, it simply won't work. And then you'll just swap the wires out. So I've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right the first time. So we're going to take these, and they simply slide in like that. Slide in like that. All right. Okay, so that didn't work. So I'm going to unplug the headlight connector, and we're going to unplug that one. Unplug that one and swap it. Plug that one back in. Okay. And we're going to set it down there. Okay, we're gonna plug the headlights back in and try it out. And there you have it, it works. I'm gonna take a Sharpie and I'm gonna mark this wire here in black, just so we know, because we are gonna need to unplug it right now. So now we can go ahead and put the bulb into the adapter. When you're putting an LED bulb in, and this is real important, no matter what brand you're doing, you want to make sure to put this notch part right here facing up. You don't want to put it like this, facing down, because your light beam will be completely wrong. This is the way the LED should be installed, like this. And all you need to do with this adapter is push it straight on, because as you can see, it's got these O-rings here, and they are going to provide the seal. So we just simply push it in. Okay, we make sure it's lined up the correct way. Good. And you got to push it hard all the way in. You have to go past 2 O-ring seals. We can take our 2 wires, and we have our plug wire, which is still outside the housing, and we can plug in the one that we marked as negative. So that will go here. Okay, and the other one is positive. So now this is what it looks like now that we've got the bulb connected. And you can see the LED bulb, the new LED bulb, is firmly in place. We've got the one marked negative connected to the negative, positive to positive. And now all you need to do is, well, actually, you should wrap these wires in electrical tape first before we put it inside. One thing though, before we wrap it up on that one, is we want to test it and make sure that it works before we put tape on the bulb and put everything back in there. And this is a view of the front of the car. As you can see, it looks really nice. We've got the LED bulb on the driver's side, halogen bulb on the passenger side. And yeah, you can see the difference in the color temperature right away. So this is definitely working. And now we can go ahead and tape up those wires and put them back inside. Now that we've tested it, wrapped up our exposed metal, what we need to do is just stuff these wires back into the housing. We'll just do this very carefully. There should be plenty of room inside there for the plug and the connectors. Just want to get all the wires inside. So here's a close-up after we got all the wires back inside there. And now we're going to reuse that dust cap that we took off at the beginning right there. It's real important to reuse your dust cap and to not leave that exposed, and because you don't want dirt or moisture getting inside the headlight housing there. And the cool thing about lace fit, about these bulbs, the heat sink on the back, is it looks like it doesn't really protrude out too much. So and you know, and these dust covers have the factory ones have a nice O-ring on them to also keep out moisture. So we'll go ahead and stick this on, and we're going to turn it clockwise. Yeah, done. Got LED on the driver's side, and of course your headlight wire connector gets plugged back in right there. And of course we're going to put the fuse cover back on, and we're going to move over to the passenger side. Okay, so now we've switched our attention to the passenger side, and your low beam is under this dust cover right here, the one that's behind this prop rod. So that's going to be interesting to get to. But again, we turn the dust cover counterclockwise, and then we pull it off, and there's our dust cover. So we'll put that up there for safety. Now you can reach in, turn the bulb base also counterclockwise. This is where it also helps to have small hands. Okay, I felt it move. I think it's loose. So a little bit more. So now we need to fish it out. Okay. Okay, and here is your halogen capsule. Once again, we're going to handle it by the base right here, not by the glass, and pull straight up, and there's a halogen bulb. So we have our original factory adapter. We're going to do the exact same thing. But first I'm going to go ahead and unplug the passenger side headlight wire connector. Okay. And let's see, I think that should show up on camera. And then get our screwdriver, and we're just going to gently work on it. Push it down, and it should come out the back. And there's one. Okay. There we go. And the wires are free from the factory base, so we'll save that. We're going to plug them in for testing to see which one is negative. All right. Let's plug it in again. So, one more time, unplug. We're going to get out our Sharpie. We're going to mark the, let's see, negative would be this one. So we're going to mark the negative before we pull it off. Okay. And now we go ahead and unplug. Now we're going to go ahead and put the lace fit adapter into the housing. We'll move these wires aside. Again, with the arrow upward, it may have to be a little bit off to the side because don't forget you have to turn it clockwise. So once it goes in, okay, I think that's in. And now that the adapter is in, we can take our bulb, and of course, once again, the narrow side faces up, always facing up, and we can put the bulb into the opening in the adapter. Pushing it all the way past both O-rings. It is fully seated in there. And we're ready to hook it up. Okay. So now that we got it tested, we got the wires wrapped, and you can see right there the back of the fan on the heatsink inside the housing, and we're ready to go and put the wires, tuck the wires back in there. All right. Now we can go ahead and put our dust cap back on. got to get it lined up just right. And a little clockwise turn. And it's all sealed up in there. Now, thanks to the magic of time travel, we're in complete darkness, and we're on one of the darkest roads in the county. There are no lights. There are 0 lights on this road, 0 buildings. The only lights are from any car, an occasional car. And wow, this is just great. This is just awesome. The beam pattern seems to be lighting up the side of the road pretty well. And of course, far ahead as well. We're coming up to the end of this part. There's a right-hand turn here where the road ends, and as you can see, the intersection is very well lit. Excellent. I'm loving these LED lights. I mean, they are putting out much more light than before. It's a noticeable difference. And when you're driving on a road like this, I mean, you really want to have good light, because you can never tell when there's going to be an animal or, you know, a person or what have you on the side of the road. It's really a safety thing. And I think that more people should have LED lights on their cars, and indeed more cars today are being built with LEDs as standard equipment. Okay, right now we're parked up against the dark side of a building with a straight brick wall there, with the LED low beam lights, so you can get a look at the beam pattern on it. The driver's side is a little bit lower than the passenger side, but I believe it's made that way on purpose, because the driver's side headlight is closest to an oncoming car, so it's a little bit lower so it doesn't blind oncoming traffic. But you can see that it's an even pattern all the way across. There's really not any hot spots, and there is a sharp line at the top where it drops off. These are my high beams. Now, my high beams are still halogen. You can see the difference in the color between the 6000K white of the low beam LEDs and the slightly yellowish halogen high beams, but they're much higher. So we turn those off, back to the low beams, and these lights have a very nice even pattern to them. Alright, so that concludes this video on the review and the installation of the lace fit H7 LED conversion kit for the Hyundai Tucson. My thoughts are, I'm really impressed with the light. I'm also impressed with the way the kit fits in the car. The adapter that goes in the headlight housing is literally identical to the one that was made from the factory. If you didn't know that the car didn't come with it originally, you'd never be able to tell. It does not look aftermarket, like a aftermarket job. The bulb fits in the housing with enough room to put the factory dust cap on back on, which is also very important for keeping dust out of there. So I am impressed with that. And the ordering from LaceFit directly from their website, or you can order them from Amazon. They have an Amazon store. The shipping was really quick. It's free shipping for anything over a certain amount, which these LED bulbs were. So you get free shipping. It was fast. So the service that I got from them was really great. And, you know, overall, for safety, you just can't beat these LED lights. I mean, they're so powerful, and the beam pattern is good, and you know, it just looks like a much more upscale car with the look of the headlights. The color matches the accent lights that are on top of the headlights, which those are LED from the factory. So there's a lot to be impressed with. They do come with a 1-year warranty in case anything goes wrong. They'll replace it. Also, another thing to be impressed with is that I didn't get any warnings on the instrument panel for bulb out, which these vehicles have a CAN bus system. So if you're buying LED bulbs for any vehicle, you need to know whether your car has a CAN bus system, and if it does, you'll need a bulb that has a resistor in it. Otherwise, you'll get a bulb out warning on your dash. But there's no warnings on my dash from these, so they were made just as if it would have been factory installed. So like I said, there is a lot to be impressed with on these, and I'm really glad I did it. I think it's a very worthy investment, you know, for safety. You can't beat having more light when you're on dark roads, when you're in the rain, maybe if you drive in snow. So it is a great investment to make for really any car. Hopefully you found the installation video helpful. So make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to keep up to date with any new videos that come out. We'll see you next time.